Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Today, I want to handle something very unique, very different from the gospel. And though, in a way, it is related to the gospel because the ministry requires that we visit the persons who have been deprived of liberty. And that is the word of God because the Bible says, or Jesus says, that when I was in prison, you did not visit me. Now, the persons who are in prison do not really require much of the prayers, but they require visitation. So when Christ says that we need to visit them, he is actually very clear that the persons, they are human beings and they need to be attended to. Now, before I delve into the nitty-gritties or the main details of the item of integration of offenders into the society, I want to mention a few things, especially when it comes to offenses and the court system. Well, I'm not an advocate or a lawyer or any officer in the court of law, but I've had an experience of facing through the justice system. And because of that, then I have come to learn a few things which might help one or two people when you encounter this kind of situations. Because nobody in the society is immune to access to courts or simply immune to being in contact with the law or law enforcers. In one way or another, you will find yourself in conflict with the law. And at the end of the day, you may find yourself in custody because on many occasions, we cannot defend ourselves, not because we don't know law, but because there's a system or there's some kind of spirit of fear when, especially when you come before or when you stand before the justice system. And the harassment normally occurs at the police station. And that is where you realize that life has suddenly changed, because especially when you go down to sleep on the floor and you are denied most of the basic needs that you may need at that point. And that is when you know that life has gone south. Just a simple problem, and you already things have changed entirely, completely different. Now, I want to mention about the factors that are normally considered when an offender is being sentenced. Well, if you get to the courts and you find yourself out through cash bail or released for a reason that there are no clear evidence or somebody has withdrawn the case, then you are lucky to go and you are good to go home, but don't repeat the same offense again. Now, here I want to mention about a few factors that are normally considered whenever an offender or a victim is being sentenced. When you've gone through the system of hearing and maybe you have been sentenced, and so these are the factors that are being considered when you are being taken into prison. Number one is that the nature of the offense before the magistrate or the judge makes a decision on how many years or what time to grant you as an inform of a sentence, they always look at the nature of the offense. Because an offender who is just simply selling one roll of bank or who is selling changa or illicit brew cannot be given the same sentence with the person who was stolen or murder. So it depends on the nature of the offense, and that makes the magistrate or the judge make a decision based on that. Also, you will notice that sentences are also given a limited term based on it with respect to the law. The law details exactly how the sentence needs to run. And so that is one of them. The next one is culpability. Culpability means the responsibility, in short, responsibility of the offender during the offense. Whenever the offense occurred, what part did you play, or what was your responsibility? Are you the main character or the assisting character, or if you just happen to appear in the course of the event or the scene of crime, were you in a position to save a situation or to eliminate an offense or to cause an offense not to happen? What part did you play in that kind of offense? And that is what we call culpability. So that is another thing that causes or makes a judge decide on what kind of sentence to be meted upon the the offender. Now, the other one, the third aspect, is protection of public and deterrence. Now, one of the reasons why you are taken to custody is not simply to be punished, or but to be gotten out of the society, because many a times, if the court would release you, sometimes you would be killed out there. So when you find yourself being taken to prison, it's sometimes because to save your life from being harmed or being killed by the society, because the people are still grieving, they are still angry, and they still feel a lot of pain. So the only solution is to cause a deterrence, to take you out of the public for a while and cause them to heal. And as soon as that happens, there's a lot of events that follow up, like, for example, probation comes in, and other non-governmental organizations, churches come in to cause healing on your part, as also the other people at home that you left behind are also healing. So that is protection of public and deterrence. That is, the public is protected from your harm, or you might even go back and harm the person who caused you to be in custody. Aggravations simply means how you have been relating to the public, especially when it comes to offenses. How is your history? Are you a repeat offender? Are you somebody who can cause issues or lack of destabilize peace in the society? When you were out on cash bail, did you cause an offense? Did you commit a crime? If there has been a crime that you committed, then rest assured you will be granted the maximum sentence of that particular offense. Leniency is normally the last option, especially when somebody who is a repeat offender. Now, during the currency of the hearing of the matter, there is normally a lot of assessments in your life, both from the probational point of view, and the authorities. How do you attend to court? Are you the what kind of person that skips court sessions? Are you the kind of person who gives wrong messages? You lie to court that I was sick and yet you were not sick. I did not have bus fare, and those kind of funny stories. These are the issues that can cause you being given a very nasty sentence. And how can you be rehabilitated? Because your character during the currency of hearing manifests a lot if you are the kind of person who can be changed. The judge or the magistrate does not just look at the case at hand, but he looks at your behavior and your response to various questions that you're being asked. So that tells a lot about yourself, and therefore, are you the kind of person who can be given opportunity to change or to rehabilitate? The final one is mitigating factors. Whenever you are given a chance to give mitigations, please, it is important not to keep quiet. Mention a few things. What is your responsibility in the society? Are you remorseful? Are you sorrowful? Are you going to build the society? What do you have dependents? Are you very old enough? Are you still very young? Do you have a school or something? Were you going to school? Were you going to for some training? Do you have something to do that will help you to sustain in the society? Are you a circumstantial offender? Did you just happen to appear there, or you are the main offender? So these are the things that you mentioned during the mitigation stage. When you get there, talk yourself out. And because we've had these experiences, some of us, or personally, I'm the one who got out of custody because of these mitigating factors. And they give good reason, and always have confidence when you stand before the court of law. Now, when you get to the prison custody, now there are things that you need to follow, because I know when you get there, the environment is very different, changes. You're stripped naked, searched seriously. Maybe you have carried some illicit stuff which are not supposed to get into the prison compound. And also, you're stripped of all your personal belongings and given a new uniform. Well, that may look very strange, because you may be the kind of person who is used to wearing smartness, and when you get to wear very shameful clothes like those ones of zebra, you feel so dehumanized and ashamed. But all the same, that is another world that you need to live by, and and get used to. And so these are the things that you must, and we pray that all the authorities follow, and this has to be done. For example, the first time the offender gets into custody, it is important to make sure that we commit him into serious counseling, because the change of environment and the trauma faced on that person at that moment is very tragic. There has been many instances where people go to an extent of trying to commit suicide, and even some try to run away. And you know, when you try to escape in a prison custody, definitely the prison officer will not let you but shoot you. They have the right that if you find any prisoner near the fence, they have every right to shoot you, even to maim you or to kill you. Because as long as the bullet hits you from the back, it is a sign that you are trying to escape. And an escape attracts a 2 year sentence, between 6 months and 2 years. So there is no need for you to get to that extent. Get a serious counselor and talk to them, be open and discuss with them your issues of offenders. Now, it is important that when you get to custody, and this is advisable even to the authorities, that when offenders are brought into the prison custody, it is good to always teach them the reasons why they are in custody. They are not in custody because somebody has thought ill of them or somebody is punishing them for no reason. Show them the reason why they are in custody by trying to teach them the basics of the law and the society. Many people, or even those who have never been to prison, those who are outside here, have no knowledge whatsoever about the constitution and the law. And especially in our country and many English colonized countries, there is this law which says that ignorance is no defense. Now, you can never go to court and say that I didn't know. That is no defense at all. So it is good to know that when you are in custody, try to teach yourself the basics of the law, which you will, even when you come out, you are equipped so that you know how to deal with people. People are evil and they are wicked, and they can take you back to custody by even the slightest mistakes. So you need to know the law and how to defend yourself when you get to custody. And so whenever somebody gets into prison, it is important to subject them into serious training and teachings on how to avoid conflict with the law in the society. The third item is motivation and giving them hope. Whenever you are in prison, your life ends there. It actually seems blackness, darkness, there is no future and there is no hope at all of coming out. Every day is like a year and nobody knows the dates. Like when I was there for a little time or for a short time, the only dates I knew were the dates to appear in court. You can never ask the prisoner or a remandee which day that is, because it is not in their mind. That is, they are totally detached in the society. Leave alone those who have stayed there for over 10 years, because some of them don't even know the president of the country. They do not know even which county they are in. Why? Because the mind has already been disoriented and they have almost lost memory. So it is important at this point to always teach them and explain to them and give them hope that there is a time you will get out and God has given you a simple rest, so that when you go out, you are full of strength, you are powerful, and you are focused, so that you have no time now to think about other people's businesses, what they are doing, the community or the neighborhood rumor mongering and all that stuff. You have all the time to think of your work, and you have nothing to do outside. Please do it in your own house and just rest and relax and have your own time. Avoid stupid meandering around and dealings that have very dire consequences. So be motivated and know that there is a future. This is just a small thing. After all, even many of them that came out, when you find the people you left behind, you find that they have not done anything so much to brag about, that you've been away and you've lost much. Normally, many people still run in circles between the same cycle of time. And some of them, when you come out, you have the favor of God and you have the ability to do greater things, because now your mind is focused. Whenever you are in custody, it is important to be engaged in productive activities. And more so, not just lying around and eating food all the time, but to have activities like in the prison authorities, there is what we call industry. Industry, there is agriculture, and there's even ministry work. There's so much going on there. However, the government has not invested so much in it, and therefore you find that just basic things that are happening there. But for your own good, if you engage yourself in activities in the prison authorities, then you come out after you build yourself. Many people have come out with properties or with machinery to use at home after their term is over. And some of them even have certificates of work. Even though those certificates, sometimes when they are inscripted from prison, you cannot give them out somewhere else, because now the society is another thing. When you give them a certificate of prison, they know this one is just not a qualified person, but is a criminal. But most above all, it is important to have education in custody, especially not just education to get a certificate of class 8, from, because I am one of the people who has been against that in prison. These are grown-ups people who just need to do something for their lives, not to do mathematics and know how to write their names. I mean, getting to know what CRE is, in biology, but to be agricultural or carpentry or something engineering to make them grow and become people in the society when they come out. And possibly after they come out, it is important to always know that they have something to come and do. So the government should put mechanisms in place so that when convicts get out of prison, they are given tools to come and use at home, and at least a small token to start their life with. So their being in prison should not be just a waste of time, but there is an earning every day or every time for them, so that to be saved for them, so that when they leave custody or when they leave prison, they have something to do that is constructive in their life. It is good to always provide them with books, give them Bibles, give them newspapers, permit them to have radios, allow them to watch TVs, because they are now connected into the world. And once in a while, because I know the craze that the convicts can do with their phones, but once in a while, allow them to access their numbers so that they can reach out to their people. And not only that, to update their lines, of course, with strictness, because these are people who can cause havoc, especially when it comes to telecommunication. So once there, you can be able at least to assist them with putting security measures. These are people who can come out of prison with a focused mind. And it is all noted that apart from a few cases, many of the people, when they come out of prison, they become very strong people, because they have the ability to focus in life, not as they were before. And finally, whenever somebody is in custody, try to engage yourself in sporting activities. Choose a sport that you love, and engage yourself in. One thing that I know prison officers do not like is athletics. Or don't run. Don't run. And in fact, let your speed be manageable. Apart from running in the football pitch, there is no athletics in custody. When you start to run in prison, then you know what I'm talking about. It is like trying to escape. And so, whenever somebody is in custody, these are my recommendations, which I pray that the authorities need to follow up. We need to have consistent visits by probation officers in conjunction with prison authorities. Now, this is very important, because whenever probation officers get there, they have both access to the families and the people outside, including the authorities, and the prison officers have access to this person here. Now, when they put the information together, and assuming this convict in prison is doing very well, changing character, the probation officer has the ability to go and notify the community, the family, and even the authorities like the chief, the sub chief, that this person has changed and therefore is ready to be reintroduced into the society. Now, the only problem is consistency. But however, if this could be followed, many people would not even finish their term, because man is prone to change and being remorseful. So they have to be given an opportunity to write a commitment letter, or yes, a commitment letter to the courts, that I will not repeat the same offense, that if I'm released on probation, to go and serve the community within a given time. For example, we have Community Service Order Act, which is always applicable. We have also Probation or Offenders Act. If those acts are applicable, or are utilized at the moment, then I think there will be greater decongestion of prisons in this country. So at this point, it is my recommendation that there is consistency of liaising between probation officers and prison officers. It is them now. It is at this point now that the probation of officers and the prison authorities can recommend the courts to release the prisoners based on the terms that they have seen and the change in the society, because nobody can release a prisoner apart from the court itself, because that is the storehouse of the court. So not even prison officers can release a prisoner. It is the court that releases a prisoner. Now, something else which is very key is families that are left behind. Whenever a convict has been sentenced to a term, whatever period of time, there is no consideration of their families. Normally, nobody talks about their families. Maybe both parents have been taken to custody, or even the breadwinner has been taken to custody. One question that comes out very clear is this: what happens to the children who have been left behind? Many a times you will notice that whenever the breadwinner has been taken away, the children start wondering, why has our parent or the breadwinner been taken away? How will they get the next meal? It is important to understand that when these children, or when this small family has been left behind, then it is easy for them, especially for girls, to turn into prostitution and the young boys to get into thieves. Now, the government is not helping in any way, because you're actually solving one problem by creating another problem. So that is why the nation can never lack criminals. By removing the person out of the society without the counseling of the young ones and the families, then you have simply created another problem by solving another problem. So it is important at this point to understand that before a convict is taken, or before an offender is taken to prison custody, do a one-on-one counseling between the families, and possibly even put the two of them, the offender and the family, together in one sitting and explain to them what has happened. And if at this point, then the government can take its responsibility by providing security to the families, or providing even a small token for the children, school fees. Let them be encouraged for visitations on many occasions, so that they know that they have not lost their parent, but it's for a small time that they will get their parent back into the society. And so when the children or the families visit the convict in prison, it is a continuation of the counseling that had happened earlier. Otherwise, with this continuity, because of this breach of gap, the children that have been left behind have got a negative attitude towards the authorities. Why did they take our parent away? Because they don't know that their parent or the breadwinner committed an offense, because that is not in their mind uh, uh, at any one point. So if these factors can be considered, I think we shall have a happy society and a crime-free society. Now, before releasing the offender, because now this is another thing that we need to consider. When you release an offender, first and foremost, it is better to prepare the offender mentally, that you are yet about to go to the society, to be reintegrated into the society, so that now he prepares himself on how he's going to encounter. He can recollect, bring back memories of his friends, what happened, bring back memories of his families, and even the families can be called now to reconnect with him almost on frequency basis. Now, the family should be notified. After preparing him now, it is good to always notify the family, and possibly the chiefs and the local authorities that somebody so and so who was taken in as an offender is coming back home. Now, when this is done, then the chief can be able to educate the public, especially his close friends, and tell them or teach them on how to handle this person into the society, and even engage a counselor also to talk him into the society, because now he is like a new being in a strange village. So he is coming in and must be integrated into the society. Commit him to do some social amenities work, give him a small token here and there, and build him to become part and parcel of the society. And even the authorities can use him or can use her to teach other people on how to avoid conflict with the law. And so the ex-convict will become useful to the society. So guide them into counseling and restoration into the society. And if this is taken, it will be very easy. Decentralization of prisons is something that the governments need to consider. If prisons can be decentralized, for example, we have prison officers from a rank of, for example, a commander, superintendent, they man the offices in the district level, district level or constituency level, so that the offenders within that community, they can come, do their manual jobs and go back within a given time. They are under the prison authorities. It will decongest the prisons. And for example, even those who have less than 2 years to be released, they can come down now home and be under the authority of the officers within the constituency level, so that they can be managed within that at time. They come home, have their good time with the families, and then they go back and work in the prisons of authorities in the constituency within a given time, like for example 2 hours, 3 hours, and then they go back home so that they come and do some work to gain an income. So if this can be done, I think number one, we shall have a peaceful society. And then secondly, we shall be able to decongest the prisons. And for my take, that is it. Thank you very much, and God bless you as we build one another. Have a crime-free society, stay well, stay calm, and respect every individual who has a right to life. God bless you. God bless you so much.